like to start out by thanking you all for joining us here today. Everyone has traveled great distances to be here with us today, and it's a testament to both family and friends alike. And quite frankly, I find myself somewhat emotionally overwhelmed that so many have traveled so far to be with you here today. It's really a beautiful gesture of love and kindness. And on behalf of myself, Doreen, Ingrid, and Paul, and myself, I thank you. So the reason for all of us to gather here, of course, is to celebrate being part of the union of two of the most decent and loving people in our small piece of this world. I'd like to start with Derek, but I really can't do that. Sharing some kind words about Derek's folks, Carl and Andrew. Can you all hear me back there?
No. Now we can. Perfect style.
Really?
Derek is a testament and a fine example of a man with integrity and heart. Derek has a bond with his dad that is not only filled with respect, but there's a friendship that's quite admirable. Most of us here today are blessed with that kind of parental love. I am, and even at my age, my folks' opinions will always matter. I see that in my daughters, and I see it in Derek. Derek has shown through word and deed on many occasions, too often to count, how thoughtful and classy a gentleman he is, especially to my daughter. Even to me, Derek sought out a moment to ask my daughter's hand in marriage. I recognize that in today's world, some of the chivalrous rules and traditions often get overlooked. While I expected nothing less, Derek had once again come through. What Derek didn't know was how I appreciated what only could be described as Derek's wingman, his dad, who swiftly moved in, having stood off in the background while Derek asked for my daughter's hand over cold beer. With a big smile, we shook each other's hands and congratulated our kids. So Derek, I say to you, I never thought anyone would ever be good enough for my daughter. And you have surprised me into believing that she may well have found her soulmate. So with that, I ask you love and cherish her throughout eternity, as Doreen, Rachel, and I do. We are entrusting you with her happiness as your family is doing the same with Ashley. Okay. Ashley, I was amazed the first time I held you in my arms at the hospital. Perhaps because your mom and I were so young at the time, by today's standards, throughout your life you were filled in with surprise, excitement, astonishment, and pride on so many occasions. As a child, I did fairly dub you my son. Having two daughters, you never minded getting dirty and always looked to measure up to anyone doing anything. You always had that I can do that too attitude. From riding your motorcycles to hunting with your uncles and nephews. Looking back, I recall you working on many different job sites with me. I can clearly remember you on scaffolding, installing drop ceilings, doing demo work, and so on. My fondest memory was the large demo construction project. We had all done the demolition, and you had asked what you could do next.
Was I supposed to say no? You wouldn't be able to. No.
No choice.
Having busted your butt for half a day, you were like 12, 13 years old at the time. I showed you a room, must have been the size of a quarter of a football field with sheetrock, crumbs and dust all over the concrete. So I told you that it needed sweeping. After lunch, I spent a little time with you, and you had a rhythm going, so I left you there. What you didn't know is that I was peeking in on you every 15 or 20 minutes. About 1:30 or 2 in the afternoon, I returned to check on you, and I found you slumped over, leaning on the wall, out like a light. You had a broomstick laying across your legs. You worked harder than almost all of the men on your job that day. You You were completely wiped out. I looked at you, and I probably was the proudest dad in the world for that moment in time. As you grew and matured, it wasn't long before you were seeking your sister's advice on dressing and makeup. Well, my boy, she had turned into this beautiful young girl. Who, very much like her sister, had this magnetism that simply attracted people to her personality. Today, many of those same friends are with us to celebrate your wedding. I remember you being embarrassed about being picked for the top 5 in your homecoming queen event. And you thought it was simply a joke because it was for the girly girls. But after hearing your mom and I explain how it was an honor, that your friends would think so highly of you, that you would even be in the top 5. I saw a glimmer of excitement and happiness come over you, and of course you well deserved. I recall standing on the field with you and your mom, were oblivious to the names being called out. Even when they announced the winner, they called your name. And you were mindlessly waving to your friends. Your mom said, "Hey Ash, I called you." You just looked back. You continued waving to your friends. I called you again. I gave you a little shove forward while your mom was gently pushing you forward, telling you that you won. The look of surprise and utter disbelief was priceless. That's when it dawned on me. Your unassuming, lighthearted nature is what people so love about you. And for me, once again, I looked at you and amazed. Not because you won, it didn't matter, but because you never let it get into your head that you might. That's what, to me, was so beautiful. Having had to put some words together for you for this moment, it's been an eye-opener for me. In doing so, I'm reminded of all the different wonders you brought to my life. Mom took you all over several states looking for colleges. You came alive, actually, in this little town called Providence. And you were hooked. You met your roommate, Corinne, on that first day. You had been invited to about 4 or 5 parties before we even moved you in that day. You said our goodbyes through a gate in the back alley. You turned, you went into the quad, and you never looked back. Your mom cried the entire way home. I, on the other hand, was smiling, knowing you were off to explore the world. You made a lot of friends there, many of whom are here today to share your moment. And that's the thing about you. You've always picked the finest of friends. And not only that, but you've kept them close from adolescent through adulthood. Once again, I have to say you amaze me. The friends you have made are in large part an extension of your family. They're classy, they're smart, good, decent people. Thanks to you, your sister, mother, and I, we've had the opportunity to share in many lives that simply would not be the case if not for you. So again, I say thank you. I love you with all my being for enriching my life and giving me purpose. I wish you all the happiness this world has to offer. You and Derek are going to be very blessed. My hope for you is that someday you inspire a great writer to write the most beautiful love story. One that, once read, captures anybody's heart, and that, of course, is based on your love. I have learned far more in watching you grow into womanhood than I could have ever taught you. Thank you for your love. In Norway, in Norwegian, we say skål when we're cheering. Skål, S-K-O-L-L. So if you would like to join me, to Ashley and Rachel. Skål. Ashley and Derek.
Everything. That's over?